Alrighty guys, I am Bo Lorentzen, the FPV guy, and today we're going to be looking at mini quad racers. More accurately, we're going to be looking at a new product from Walkera, a mini quad in the 250 size category, which is really hot with FPV racing these days. If you've been following FPV and the new drones, you will know that one of the hottest things going on is drone racing. It is basically based on, I'm going to take out and show you one of my little ones. This is one of the original Blackout Mini H quad. Blackout built this thing, and I've of course put, here's the 3CD flight controller up here. You can see there's like a video transmitter right here. There's no antenna on right now. There's a battery. In the front, I made my own little bracket here so that I could slide a Mobius camera in and out. And this has been upgraded, bigger ESCs, bigger motors. It's a great little flyer. What's so great about the 250 category is that these things are virtually indestructible. I mean, we can break them and we'll find ways. But when everything is said and done, these things take a real good beating. They're easy to fly, and you can race them with other friends. And of course, the reason this is the ones we're racing is because nobody wants to race a $10,000 aircraft. However, these things are typically about $500, fully loaded, ready to fly, and then you need your goggles and your radio. So they're inexpensive, you can afford to race them, the props are cheap, and the arms are cheap to replace when you break them, so they're easy to repair. So they have all the things that makes them an easy to raise little item, and they're really fun to fly. I'm also glad to see this is a growing category because a lot of people are getting into multi-rotors by buying Phantoms and other big multi-rotors. These are much smaller, they're less than half the weight, and they're very easy to fly. They do not have a GPS, but they allow you to fly easily, and if you run into a brick wall, nothing really expensive is going to happen. So this is a good aircraft to learn the basics of a multi-rotor. Now let's skip and put away the preface and get right to the goodies. Here is, it's called the Runner 250, and you can see it right here. Item, runner, color black. It's a RTF, means ready to fly. You can also get this as a BNF, which is bind and fly, and attaches directly to your radio. And finally, it's available with all the modern Walkera radios. This one ships with a Devo 7. You can also have it with the Devo F7, with the Devo 10, or with the Devo 12E. Now, let's get realistically here. Most people is going to want to buy this with the Devo 7, and I'm really happy about the choices Walkera has made in this product because they have managed to make this very accessible. This kit, as I have it in my hands right here, it's ready to fly, and it's only about $250. So let's jump right to it and get the knife out. I hope I don't go too deep. Did we get it? Yeah. Putting the knife away for another day. Here we go. Okay, well that's something interesting right here. You noticing it yet? Do you see what I'm seeing? Okay, it's blank. This is, I would have to say, what you call a clean sheet, or rather a clean box. So this is a brand new product, and we are probably a little bit ahead of production schedule here because the box is not finished yet for us, sure. But let's crack it open and see what we find here. In the box, over here is the radio. I'm just going to remove these little stick controllers or stick protectors, and let's just hold it up a bit more. There we go. Now, here's an F7. Here is a trainer cable. Here is what is so great about Walkera is they always include all the tool you need. Here is the aircraft, and here is a charger. So here is a full set charger. By the way, this is an interchangeable plug, and I'm going to make the assumption that, as always, Walkera is going to be including international plugs so that you can hook this up and charge it in virtually any country in the world. Over here, we are finding the standard balance charger that Walkera likes to include with a lot of things. For the size battery here, this may be a teeny bit underdimensionated, but like I said before, I'm very happy about the choices Walkera has made, and I'm going to come back to that. So we don't need to charge right now. I'm going to put it down here. Basically, I should tell you real quickly, the way you install it, of course, is here is the unit and here is the charger. So you're just going to plug this in, put it in the wall, and over here we find a battery. To charge this battery, we're going to stick the battery, the balance tap, into the balance plug right here. And when this is powered up, it's going to start charging. It's going to get a bit hot, and in about an hour and a half, you'll have a charged battery. Let's put this back down here because we're not going to charge anything right now. Here it is, the radio. Propellers. And the multi-rotor. So let's grab this box, and I'm gonna just close this down, and I'm gonna use this to put the thing on so you guys can see what we're doing. First of all, here's the radio, and here is the multi-rotor, and here is some propellers. Let's get them installed, and here is a battery. All right, can you see now? Excellent. Cracking the propellers open. They're kind of in a self-sealing plastic bag right here. We're not going to need to seal them again, obviously, since we are cracking them open. And what I didn't mention was the kit also came with a set of spare propellers. Goes on here, by the way, in case you're wondering, these are self-tightening propellers, so you cannot put them on the wrong way. We're just going to spin it down till it stops, and when it stops, we're going to tighten it really hard to make sure it's in place correctly, because we never want these to come undone while flying. But the beautiful thing is, self-tightening propellers can be installed without any tools. And considering the amount of time I've spent with little wrenches installing propellers on my multi-rotors, and especially my mini quads, self-tightening is a brilliant idea. Now, this is installed. Let's take a look at that. I'm going to take it up to the detail camera up here, and you see that we have the self-tightening propellers. We have this nice little motor right here. Going across this, you will also see that here is two front lights. You can almost probably call them headlights. Down here you see the camera, and very cool thing about this camera is it can be tilted up. So let me show that. Can you see that right there? I'm tilting it up and down. Whoops, it can go way up. And you just need to tighten the screw after you have tilted it up and down to the angle you want it. Now, in case you're wondering, the reason you want to be able to tilt this up is very simple. Because when you're flying with this and you get some speed on, the aircraft is going to do that. And if the camera is not tilted up like this, all you're going to see is grass when you're flying. And obviously you're going to be crashing into trees or something. So that's why, in order to be a meaningful race quad, you have to be able to adjust the angle of the flight camera. Usually you're just going to be tilting it up to whatever your angle is. And I can tell you the fastest guys have this thing way up at 45 degrees or something like that, where the slower guys like me are looking almost straight forward. So that was our flight camera. By the way, that's an 800 line flight camera. And when you look at it in video, it's going to look really nice and clear. You're going to be able to get a good feeling of what you're flying around. Continuing our little introduction, back to the detail camera. Right up on top of the quad here is a little platform. Notice how it's mounted with dampers like that. And somewhere here, I should have a Mobius camera. The Mobius goes right on top here with a zip tie. So you can just basically attach it right here with a zip tie, and now you're able to record video while you're flying. And the little dampers here prevent jello. And as always, my Mobius cameras always has my little lens guard, or I call it the lens saver, that's available on shapeways, and I'll put a link at my blog at fpvguide.com to the lens saver, because if you're flying and racing low level, you're going to want a lens saver on your Möbius. You can also up here mount a GoPro. However, I feel a GoPro gets a little too heavy and the weight comes up too high for racing, so I wouldn't recommend that. Now, following along right here, what you see there, I should find something to point with, like a knife. Right there you can see that is the video transmitter. Coming down here, that now you're looking at the flight controller. You can see that right here too, the 250 Runner 250 flight controller. And behind it right there is the receiver, and you can see the two antennas. You definitely want to make sure they are out from the body and kind of spread out a little bit so they can really get a lot of exposure to signal. Moving further around, here's two tail lights. I believe those are going to be red, and very, very cool. Look at this thing right here. That is an XT60 contact or plug, meaning Walkera has finally stopped making aircraft with bullet plugs, and instead they're now making them with the standard plug for mini quad racing. That is simply phenomenal. Walkera is making a quad here that is completely compatible with all the stuff you guys already have for racing. Let's take a little look at the legs here. They're very cool. They're one screw here and two screws on top, so they are going to be easy to replace. Personally, I would rather have seen it without the leg and just being a standard, but there's nothing preventing us from really quickly printing a couple of replacement stands and losing the legs, because all the legs do really is create drag, and they're begging to break off. They do look kind of nice when they stand, so they're not a bad thing. I just don't really think for racing that we need legs sticking out like this. But that's a personal opinion. This is really a very, very together package. And one of the things I discovered earlier looking at this thing, see if I can show you right here, right there, notice this plug, and here's what I think it is. See all these leaves right there? I don't know if you can see them. There they are. That is a quick connect solderless connector for your ESC. So I am 90% sure the way this works is when you undo the arm, you can pull the arm and the ESC directly off. So you could have a couple of spare arms with motor and props and everything just ready to slide right onto here, and you'll be back in business in case you bust an arm while racing. Now, coming around, you can see right here, here is of course the camera we looked at earlier. Down here is the video cable from the camera, and that is coming up on the side, and it's going right up here where it's attaching to the plug for the video transmitter. Inside here in my unit is an empty hole. Right in here you can see there is a big plug right there. I don't know if you can see that. Let me try to move it. There is the big square plug right here. That is, and in here is an empty space. That is where the OSD go. OSD is something that's new to Walkera. They so far have shipped it on 3 different products. The 350 Premium here, this little baby, which is a really sweet little aircraft, and also on the Voyager 3, which is a monster video rig. The OSD would have a little GPS antenna sitting right on top here, and basically what it will do is while you fly in the goggles, you're going to be seeing the distance, the directions, and an arrow that shows you the direction to get back home. Now, for racing, you're not going to want the OSD simply because it's extra weight and drag. Racing is all about going fast. However, if you're going to be sports flying around at home, without racing your best buddies, you're going to be probably wanting the OSD, and I'm kind of hoping we can convince Walkera to make the OSD available as a step-up option and call it kind of the package BASIC2 plus OSD. I'm guessing that would be in the $350 range. And now while we're talking about dollars and packages, let's real quickly, this is obviously the $251. There is a $150 package that is put it together yourself. It basically includes the kit but you have to install it and mount it together yourself. That's $150, so that's the entry level point. You can get this airframe. You'll need your own camera and your own video transmitter. That's $150 do-it-yourself kit with motors, with ESCs, with flight controller, and with the receiver, just no video system. The next one up is $230, and that is this unit without the video transmitter and without the camera. The next one up is this one, which is $260 and contains the video transmitter and the camera, but no OSD. Officially, the next one up then is about $750, and that adds two important details. One, the OSD, and second, it's adding the Walkera Goggle 2 goggles. That's essentially like Fat Shark goggles, except they're made by Walkera. They do have IDP adjustment, which is interpupillar distance adjustment, so you can adjust for your eyes. They also have a 3-axis motion tracker, so that you could use them to control a gimbal, like pitching down, pitching up, right and left, and roll. So you could actually fly a multirotor with the head tracker. However, you're not really going to be flying a multirotor with a head tracker. What you are going to be doing is flying it with the radio, and you're going to be seeing the video. The Walkera goggles have built-in 5.8 receiver, so they're obviously completely compatible with this and also with most other 5.8 transmitter systems. Now, a lot of us already have things like Fat Shark goggles, and because of that, I'm not sure I really want to buy a kit with goggles in order to get the OSD. And that's why, Walkera, you guys really need to release a kit that contains the OSD but no goggles. That's my opinion, and obviously, as you can tell, I don't work for Walkera, but I am loving this product. Let's move on, and I already told you I thought there's a lot of good choices here. Like the charger is an inexpensive charger, but it allows you to get into this really inexpensively. Same thing here. This is the Devo 7, which Walkera have had around for quite a while. And let's get this cracked open. On the back here, it actually has a battery tray. So to get this working, the first thing we need is 8 AA batteries. I have been preparing, and I have 8 AA batteries handy. So let's start scooting them in here real quickly. Again, this is really a stable Walkera product, and this particular Devo 7 has been around for a long time. It has a good reach, so it's a really great little radio for this kind of use with FPV racing. And also because you're going to be flying this without looking at the screen, you want to be looking in goggles in order to really be racing. But you could use a screen as well. You could use something like a Black Pearl, or you could use, I have some small receiver screens here. That would definitely show the video. So, all right, we are hot. We have got this, and this tray, battery tray only goes in one way. So there we go. This should now be all switches. Always put all the switches here in the up position. There, and we're setting this, and we're ready. It is working, so we're good to go. Let's get our little multi-rotor here fired up. Now, one thing I found out really quickly the hard way was this switch here, which is the mix switch. In the up setting, up here, it is flying rate mode. In the middle setting, it is flying stabilize mode. It's a really important thing to be aware of, because if you're not aware of that, you're gonna get some bad surprises. So that means if you're a beginner, make sure you leave the mix switch in the middle setting, which is the round dot. Up is 0, middle is 1, down is 2. So you want to be in the 1 setting. Now, having said that, let's take a look at this, and we want to fire it up. Before we do that, I am going to be removing the propellers. There we go. Now it's safe, and you may be asking, why am I removing the propellers? I am removing the propellers because I have nicked my fingers more times on mini racers than anything else. And by the way, this is a regular racing prop, and this is the Walkera prop. Notice the racing prop, the typical one, usually is a gem fan, and it requires a bolt on top, whereas the boltless self-tightening propeller from Walkera has a thread built in, and all you need to do is tighten it on. I really like the self-tightening, however other people don't like self-tightening at all, so that's a matter of taste. Let's get the battery in here, and before I put the battery in, let me show you the battery tray. This is a slice of carbon fiber, and it's actually very, very slippery. So the first thing I would do would be cut a couple of pieces of 3M double-sided tape and stick them on the bottom tray right here. And then rub them really good with your finger so they're no longer really sticky, just enough to keep a battery from sliding around. So here's our battery, and let's stick that right in here. Before we can do that, I have to release that Velcro strap. Now I can slide this through the Velcro strap, kinda. It's gonna take a little getting used to because it's different than the other ones. And you wanna get this kind of sitting right about between the legs lengthwise so that you keep the weight of this centered. And then tuck down the Velcro, and you're ready to go. Now to start a Walkera product, what you wanna do is turn on the radio and then immediately go and put the power onto the product. Now these two are gonna bind together, at least we hope so, and in a minute we should see these. Look at that. The motors has stopped. So it's blinking, that means it's bound. And the radio is telling us we are bound and we are ready. So we are gonna have the switch, and I'm gonna put the mix switch in the middle position so that it's flying in stabilized, not in rate mode. I should explain what rate mode is. So let me come right back to that. Right now what I'm gonna do is to arm this, what you need to do is take the throttle stick down and to the left. And if you pay attention to the tail, there, now you saw the lights going on, we have armed this. And you also see we got the headlights on and we got tail lights going. Look at that, it's actually pretty bright. So to disarm it, we go down and to the right. We're gonna arm it again real quickly. Now we are armed, you can see the red, and I'm gonna just slide it up really gently. We're hot. I'm not gonna fly that in here because there is no way I am having these propellers flying this close to my nose. Even if I might be able to pull it off, it's not worth taking the skin off my nose. So here we are, we have no propellers, we are safe. Let's see how the camera is working now. I am gonna reach for my head play goggles. I decorated them a little bit. I mean, what's not to like? It's kind of like the Thomas, the engine that could goggles. And I need to turn them on real quickly. So you connect the battery to the power cable and then wait a second. Notice my antenna up here has seen better days, but it's still working just fine. And I am seeing black. Oh, it helps if you remove the little lens cap before you try to fly. And I think this antenna is not on the right. This looks good. Oh, there we go. So here it is. We have a video picture through it. And I don't know, can you see if I go really close? Yep, the thing is working. There I am. In high definition, well, SD mini rotor quad cam. So there we have it. Taking this one back down, and here we go. This actually looks very good. This is very good quality video. I have seen a lot of cameras that is not that good. I'm gonna do a real quick check and cross-check this with my Fat Sharks. Put my happy goggles back over there, and here is my Fat Sharks. Let's repeat the exercise, powering them up. In this case, I need to take my glasses. Oh yeah, this is looking good. That is definitely a clear video signal. I do wish they had included the OSD, but this is flyable, and for $250, this is a great package. Let's power this back down, remove the Fat Sharks, and put them down here. I can unpower this. There we go. Now, that comes with a 3S 2200 milliamp battery. I'm going to reach for some other batteries here, because that's exactly the one that the Phantom was using. So this is the Phantom P1 battery. These things are dirt cheap. You can find them everywhere on the internet, eBay, and everywhere. Here's another one. Here's a Zippy, another cheap 3S 2200 milliamp battery. They both have the XT60 plugs on the end. And I have a little system. I'm going to put a link up for you. This is a little Velcro thing. It's green on the one side and red on the other side. So I usually use these things, and what I do is I'll show them so they're red when I finish flying a battery, and then after I charge it, I'll turn it green, and now I know, looking at my batteries, these ones are ready, and that one with the red dot is not ready. Let's put this down. And by the way, the great thing, because this uses a Devo receiver, if you already have a Devo receiver, you can use any Devo receiver you want. My favorite receiver for racing, transmitter, has been the Devo 6 that I've been using for a very long time. I absolutely love it because it's so small and just kind of disappears in my hands. And I installed a easy UHF on the back for more signal at longer ranges. However, stock, this will go about a little less than a mile, and you should expect to be able to fly quite a good deal out without a UHF transmitter. So you can use your favorite Devo radio to fly this aircraft. Let's put it back up here real quickly, and I can start putting these things back on. Now, the cool thing, more geopolitical perspective on this, because Walkera is really big, and you probably knew that already. What that means is these things are inexpensive. They're going to be in every store out there. So it's going to be easy to find friends that has one of these to race with. And that makes this particular quad really kind of interesting, because it makes it a class racer, like a Formula 1, a Formula 2, or I don't think there is a Formula 2, but like when you have one type of sailboat and all your friends are sailing the same sailboat, so that you have the same sails, the same sailboat, and the only skill left is how good a captain are you. That is the advantage of a class racer like this could be, because there will be a lot of these out there, and they're inexpensive enough. Your friends can get one for about $150, meaning you're able to race the same aircraft, and you can all see who is better based on your piloting skills and not based on how expensive the multirotor you bought is. So that is one of the many reasons I really like this. I've been looking over it. I know my friend Matt is really excited about getting this flying. And so over the weekend, we're going to get it up in the air. We're going to get you some flight video. I'm also working on a blog post for my blog at fpvguide.com. And I'll be putting more suggestions, settings, files, or descriptions on how to set up your radio, and links for setup information for the controller right here. So between those pieces, you should be able to set it up really well. So stay tuned for more videos about this, and also subscribe, of course, to my YouTube channel, and go and check out fpvguide.com, where I will continuously be updating the post as I'm learning more and more things about this. I will be talking about the settings for the flight controller. I'll be talking about how to install the OSD, and I'll be talking about if we need to set up the OSD, how to do it. So that's all we have to say about this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you back for more videos soon.